o'clock on the dot, live on the spot. Here I is, the unimpeachable president for life. Break on through. Do what you do, but break on through. Maybe I'll have all this shit figured out here in a second. I'll make this some motherfuckers stop bouncing up and down. Well, how is everybody today on this wonderful Tuesday? Thank you, Derek. Thanks to everybody that tuned in on Saturday night to the live show. We worked very, very hard on that. A lot of people did, but not just us four, but a lot of people. You know, people that we hired for the sound, the lights, and the video, and all. Everybody worked their butts off, and I thought that overall it was a great product. I was really proud of it when it was all over, and I really appreciate all of you tuning in and continuing to watch it. We're already up to 50. I think it's getting close. We're closing in at 15,000 views. Continue to share it, repost it. Let's see if we can get 20,000 views by this weekend. How about that? Hey, everybody. Glad to see you. And you know, the comments I was getting, you know, after we were done, I went back and watched and was looking at the comments, man, you know, and it seemed like you guys had a good time too. And that's what it was all about, man. We wanted y'all to have a great time for however long the show was. We wanted y'all to have a good time. Because a lot of circumstances in our country today, as you all know, are making it so we can't all get together and have a good time. And I regret to tell you that because of these times, our plan was to get a few good paying ones under our belt, and it was going to buy our airfare to Texas for rule breakers, but it didn't happen. So it looks like Rule Breakers 2020 will not be in the cards for ANTiSEEN, and I am very sorry. We really wanted to be part of every one of these. But please don't let that deter you. Please, if you were going to go anyway, please go. The bands that will be able to make it, and you know, man, this year they got Hembry and the Satan Sisters, the Guillotines, and plus with the ones you already know, like Wrath of Typhon, and of course Rancid Vat, and shit, I can't think of them all right now. But you know it's going to be a good time, man. I really wish we were going to be there, and I regret that we will not. But, everybody hearing me okay? I haven't seen any complaints yet. I suppose everything's all right. Well, again, man, I really can't express to you guys how much I appreciate you being part of that Saturday night, and it's the reason we do it. We love you guys. I know we ain't the peace and love band, but we do love our audience. Well, today we're going to get back into history. I know you're probably asking yourself, Jeff Clayton, why you got that poster of Alice Cooper up back there? Well, I'm getting ready to tell you. Back in 1973, I was 10 years old. This is one of the first 3 albums I ever owned. The other 2, besides this, were Naturally by Three Dog Night and Shining On by Grand Funk Railroad. Maybe a couple K-Tel 22 explosive hits. This is what got the whole thing rolling for me. Oh yeah. Look at this. This particular one does not have a $1 billion bill in it, but don't you worry. I got $1 billion bills, Hoss. I got probably about 15 of them around here somewhere. I'm going to show you something now. See that fella right there? That's Michael Bruce, rhythm guitar player of one of the greatest bands ever. Ever. Was he just a rhythm guitar player? No, he's a songwriter too. A lot of those great riffs you heard, not just on this album, but the one after it and the few before. All those riffs came out of that man's hands. A lot of the lyrics did too. Now, when I was 10 years old, sitting around looking at this stuff, seeing my old man catch a glimpse of it, and going all to hell. And he hated this shit. Man, I hung this picture up on my wall. There he is right there, Michael Bruce. He was one of the main guys in all this. You sit around and stare at this album. I know every nuance of it. If something were to change, I would know it. If there's a different mix, I could tell. With this album especially. Probably all those early ones, but mainly this one. But, alright. Now it's time to fast forward from Biloxi, Mississippi, 1973, to Charlotte, North Carolina, 1994. There's a town near Charlotte called Hickory, North Carolina. Used to be the site of some of the wildest ANTiSEEN shows ever. Hickory loved them some ANTiSEEN, and ANTiSEEN loved them some Hickory. Drummer Phil Keller is from the great town of Hickory. He still lives there to this day. Well, I'm looking through one of the entertainment papers up there in a place called Cadillacs. And advertised, coming to Cadillacs is Michael Bruce and the $1 Billion Babies. Now what I'm thinking is that some Hickory guy named Michael Bruce is going to be playing some Alice Cooper covers or something. Well, I'll find out an acquaintance of ours named Dave Mink, he pretty much arranged this whole thing. Now, the guy that was playing drums for him, a guy named Billy James, also known as Aunt B. I get confirmation through Mink and through Aunt B. This ain't some hickory guy. It's Michael Bruce. I'm there. I make sure I'm there, man. And yeah, sure enough, here he comes. You know, he just looked a little older, like we all do. But they start playing the little intro that they used to come out, that the Alice Cooper band used to come out to during the Killer tour. It had a bubble machine going. You know, there's bubbles everywhere. Ding, 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 ding. They're out there. Go right into Be My Lover. Mike's singing all the songs. Yeah, it was nothing but old Alice. And I met him that night. I got him to sign some things for me, and you know, I knew, like I told you, I knew Billy James. And he, you know, introduced, you know, as a friend of his. You know, I contributed to some of some resource materials for two of Billy's books. The one he did about by Michael Bruce, called No More Mr. Nice Guy, and the Grand Funk American Band book. I'm thanked in both of those because I contributed source material for him to, you know, write off of, and prove things. Well, I decided it would be a good idea if I booked Michael Bruce in Charlotte. And guess when I'm going to book it? On my birthday. November 18th. So, this may have been 95 at this point. I was going through a hell of a time at this point. The evening before the show that I'm getting ready to do with Michael Bruce, you know, I want this show to be good. This is one of my heroes, man. I want it to be a good show in Charlotte. I want it to be filled with Alice Cooper, Michael Bruce fans. You know, I want them to really show their appreciation. I want to be a lot of people there. I did everything I could. I got silkscreen posters. Two groups I got to open. One was called Dog Meat, which featured Danny Thomas, who was a member of the 13th Floor Elevators. Tom and I lived beside his cousin, Mott Thomas. And he kind of put us in touch with him, and it just turns out he had a band, you know, and called Dog Meat. And I got them to open the show. So, you know, to me, I thought that was really cool, you know. Guy from the Elevators and guy from Alice Cooper, you know, here on one stage. In between, we got the, I can't remember if they were still Maniac Spider Trash or if they were the Frankenstein Drag Queens at this point. But Wednesday 13's band, got them to open it. Because I don't know if you guys have seen any podcasts that Wednesday's been on. He was on one with a fella from the group Machine Head recently, maybe a day or so ago, and I really enjoyed it, man, because Wednesday was talking about, you know, growing up in this area and how you get into things. You know, it's the same story for all of us guys, man. We weren't in big cities, and everything was pretty much trial and error, or someone turning you on to something, you know. And but it did me a lot of good to hear him tell his version of all that. And he also brought up the fact that he just recently had me on his album, Necrophase. I do a spoken word part on the new Wednesday 13 album, and I do an intro to a song called The Hearse. And it was kind of like a thank you from Wednesday to me for all the stuff I turned him on to when they were, you know, young kids and coming around wanting to, hold one second, wanting to know what was what about what, because they knew I was the answer man. And but I got to be on the record not only with Wednesday, a big record, a lot of people hear, but Alice Cooper was also on that record. So kind of all came full circle there, you know. But anyway, back to the Michael Bruce show. The night before, ANTiSEEN played in Myrtle Beach, and I'm in the club, man. I'm just sitting at a table. We just got there, you know. I got my bag, and I guess I'm setting the merch up. I don't know who was running it at this time, but I'm just sitting there going ahead and getting everything out, getting it ready, and guy comes in. Hey, are you Jeff Clayton? I'm like, yeah. You've been served. And it wasn't the English comedy show, Are You Being Served? I got served court papers. For assault in Myrtle Beach. Ooh. So yeah, that's my Friday night. My wife and I were in the process of splitting up, but she told me that when Mike and the guys were there, she had this, you know, she made this homemade spaghetti thing that she would make them this food, you know. I get home the next day, she's nowhere to be found, and I'm stressing out, you know. I'm gonna have to go buy stuff for all these guys, you know, and she shows up, she keeps her obligations, and it's really cool. Remember how I told you before, you know, I get to meet these guys and work with them, but I'm still a big fan, you know. It's like, the band drove Mike's Winnebago over to the club. They went ahead and they didn't have a lot of stuff, but, you know, they went ahead and sound checked and everything, and I drove Mike over in my 68 Plymouth Reliant, or Valiant. It was a Valiant. Green. We used to call it the green limousine. Wish I still had that car. But, yeah, it's cool, you know, shooting the shit with one of your heroes that you used to stare at them on the record covers going, man, it'd be great to see them, or one day, man, it'd be great, you know, if I get to do this kind of thing. But, man, they came on, they knocked it out of the park again. It was a great show. Played every song you'd want to hear, you know, from the old Alice stuff. And so then we get to talking, you know, because, like, I think Mike stayed a day or so, and Of course, I got him to sign all my shit, but we started talking, and I said, man, what would it take to get you to play on one of our records? And he's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, man, we're going to do a cover of Sick Things. I know you weren't officially the lead player in Alice Cooper, but we'd get you on there and play the lead. And he's like, man, $200, a case of beer, let me stay at your house. Done. So, and I'm being diplomatic here because Mike could sometimes be kind of unreliable back then. And he calls me up the day I'm supposed to pick him up, and he's like, hey man, I couldn't make it. And I was like, God damn it, figures. And he's like, man, hey, cool down, man. I'm just fucking with you. I'm here. He's in a hotel bar over on Independence Boulevard, so I went over there and picked him up. We drove down to Clover, South Carolina, to Jamie Hoover's Washateria. And to say that Jamie Hoover was an Alice Cooper fan, that is a slight understatement. Man, when we came walking down those stairs into Jamie's basement, Jamie's like this. He cannot believe that Michael Bruce is going to be in his studio. And so, man, Michael just sits around, and he's playing, he's not playing an SG. I forgot what kind of guitar he was playing. I'm thinking it was a Guild or something. I'm not sure, but man, when he touched it, it sounded like those old Alice Cooper records. Even Jamie, looked at me like, he's like, man, that's it. He goes, that's the guitar. that's the guitar sound that's on all those records. Jamie's wife came down and met him, shook his hand and says, yes, I just wanted to let you know that we used to make out in the car to your music all the time. I mean, everybody was laughing about that. Michael was too. But, man, he played it, I don't think he was expecting such a aggro version of Sick Things when he's listening to it, but he's just like, oh, okay, it sounds more like Attila the Hun doing Sick Things than Alice. And I was like, yeah, that's the touch we put on it, But he did a great job. I know you guys have heard Ruin Your Groove. But man, since then, you know what? We got a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee on an ANTiSEEN record. I mean, fuck the Hall of Fame, but goddamn, he's an inductee. Inductee! T. Well then, I think Mike stayed a couple more days, and I also had two friends that played with Ace Frehley, Richie Scarlett, and Steve, we called him Budgie Warner, who's the drummer. Every time Ace Frehley would come to Charlotte, now Jimmy Rebo's going to hear this, but hey, Jimmy, I would go in and open the store at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, and let Ace Frehley's band come in and shop. They buy a lot, too. They were into the shit we had at Repo now. Now, them guys would go out with arms full of records. Yeah. But, somehow I told Budgie about, me being in touch with Michael Bruce, and he's like, well, man, we're going to be in Winston-Salem or something, like the day after you record with him. He said, tell him to come by. And I'm like, Michael, listen, man, this is a good opportunity. I said, you know who Kiss is, right? Yeah. I said, well, Ace Frehley wants you to come by. And man, I don't know what happened. I guess he came on stage and played with Ace and those guys, and they were all tickled to see him. And man, it's like Ace was getting ready to go back with Kiss for the reunion tour. So these guys were looking for a band. So I'm like, Mike, there's your band. Use Ace Frehley's band. They're kick-ass. They're fans. They love you. And I was like, go. He did. I don't know what happened. I kind of wish I had gone along to see him play with Ace. That would have been awesome. But, I know that eventually he did end up playing with Richie Scarlett. But we kind of lost touch, after a while. Michael Bruce still owes Barry $150 because Barry bailed him out of a tight spot during a snowstorm. He was in Atlanta and couldn't go nowhere. And so he owes Barry $150. Rock and Rollin' Duck D owes a little bit of money. Sir Barry Hannibal. But I mean, honestly, after that, I'd heard all kinds of bizarre, crazy stories about what happened, with him after that. But I'm gonna tell you what, man. Regardless of all that, to see him back on stage with Alice and the other two remaining members of the Alice Cooper band, Dennis Dunaway and Neil Smith, man, I was really, really happy. Well, there was nobody happier for that son of a bitch than me. I was proud of him. I was like, I wish I could have seen that in person too, But from what I understand, he's doing well now, and I wish him the best always. And so that's my brush with Michael Bruce. I mean, I guess if I knew he was playing somewhere now, I'd walk in, he'd remember me, Maybe we'll cross paths with him one day. Malcolm has seen him in the not so far away past, and I don't know. Malcolm said, maybe he would remember. I don't know, but I don't want to say nothing bad, right? But let's just hope he's doing good and everything's okay in his life. Well, guess what, y'all? Look what I got here. So I'm going to put some addresses on them. But there's about 40 under here that I will be putting the addresses on and shoving a record in tomorrow and taking to the post office. That will be, and it's not a split. People say, oh, you do a split. But no, we didn't do a split. It's ANTiSEEN with Jerry A. from Poison Idea. Jerry A. singing for us. I'm just sitting there singing some damn background vocals with him. It's not a split. It's a split with ANTiSEEN. It's a split with ANTiSEEN from 2014. Or 12. 2012. So, I'll be getting those out as quickly as I can. Like I said, there's about 45, 50 of them down here that are going out tomorrow. but we're supposed to get them. We shall see. James Posner wants to know if we've ever played Tokyo. 3 times, James. 3 times. Did we love it? Yes. Do we want to do it again? Yes. That's my history for today. So before we wind it up, if you got some questions, feel free to ask. Again, I cannot express how much I appreciated you all being there with us Saturday night. We're real proud of the outcome, man. I mean, you know, sometimes things you hope for the best, but this was like way beyond what any of us had in our minds. I think, you know, as far, oh, it's going to be like this, you know, it's like when I got home, me and my wife watched it, and you know, we're just like, she just looked at me and she said, "This is so good." And I agreed with her. Yeah, this is good. We enjoyed doing it. Oh, I now have in my possession 4 5X t-shirts of the Space Ape design. You know, the one that's got the Japanese writing and yellow and pink and white. I have 4 of them. 4 5X's. They're not going to be on the site. You got to contact me. Private message me on my personal page if you want to strike a deal and get one of those. I have 4. That was 8. I only have 4. 4 5X shirts for the biggest ANTiSEEN fans. Contact me. We'll get you one. When I saw the cost on them things, I know why we didn't ever have them before. God damn! Nikki, get in touch with me. I'll tell you how much it is and everything. I won't do it here. I'll tell you on it in private message. Write me on my private message, not ANTiSEEN. Mine. Anybody else? Nikki's already claimed 1, so now I got 3. 3. Any more questions? I know you're probably wondering, Jeff Clayton, why do you got a picture of the Great Kabuki hanging up there? That was taken by my good friend Chris Raydock at Charlotte Coliseum. I was there. Why do I have it hanging up? Let's see if there's anything else around here I can show y'all. Remember I told you sometime I'll show y'all some things and maybe some stuff you haven't heard of and turn you on to something. Let me show you something. Leona Williams. She used to be married to Merle Haggard. This is on Bear Family. 2 CD set. Some of the, no, it's a 3 CD set, sorry. Some of the best old honky-tonk country you will ever hear. And I'm a real fan of female vocals. So, I love it. Actually, Alan King turned me on to that one. So, hey, Jamie, I was just talking about you a little bit ago. Talking about when we recorded Michael Bruce in your basement. Go back and listen to it later if you get a chance. But I saw someone ask, what was the wildest show? Man, it's hard to say what the wild... Man, we saw everything. Now, ANTiSEEN is not the type of band where girls get on stage and take their clothes off and dance to it. But in Hickory, we were. And fights and stabbings and I mean, it's just... Hickory's just the... Back then, it was a wild place. There's my wife watching Hey Baby. Any more questions? Because I'm ready to get on up out you. Nothing? Look at all them hearts. Oh yeah, the Hickory shows. Wild stuff. Philly show Cosmo did. Dude! When I first start writing songs, you write them down just on paper. Yeah, usually if I'm writing, I just write lyrics. And I can make them fit to just about anything. And, yeah, I try not to get a... If I know I'm going to be listening to one of those guys' riff or something, I try not to get a preconceived riff in my head. Because then it means I got to figure it out. So... Gwar fan? No. I like Brocky. Brocky was a nice fella. A couple of guys work on the Gwar team that I know are fans of ours. Good fellas. I like them. I don't know. Seems like a one joke thing. Any good memories on Gigi? Man, I've done some Gigi shows. I can't just do a Gigi question. I got to do a Gigi show. There's more coming, but tune in. You'll get to see one eventually. I ain't giving it all to you at one time. Any more questions? Hey! Let me ask some of my more, let me ask a question. Some of my more technically gifted people out there, is there such thing you can do as hook a microphone to one of these phones and talk in it so it sounds okay? If so, get up with me on private message and let me know about that. Brad, I'm kind of talking to you. I mean, you're the one that got me the stand. Any good pig champion? Man, I told the pig champion story already. Let's see. You see any danger on today's stages? I don't get that question. Do you see any danger on today's stages? I guess you mean from other bands. No. Everyone's too concerned about hurting people's feelings, so you ain't gonna get a lot of danger in music. And all the black metal bands, that's some of them may have presented that, but I don't know. Alright, well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I guess Tom did his last show Thursday. So Malcolm's going to keep going. He's going to keep doing his, so tune on him for Sunday. We may move him to Thursday, though, if he wants to do Thursdays. I'll keep you posted. Of course, you know, when it happens, you'll know. And, man, I guess all I can say is, everybody be good, be safe, have as much fun as you can, and I'll see you next Tuesday when we break on through. to the other side.